About your biggest questions going into this camp. What are the questions that you still have over this U.S. men's national team, Susannah?
Well, we just saw the guy, Gio Reyna, is back in camp, and this will be the first time that he is reunited with Gregg Berhalter since the World Cup. And we've talked a lot about sort of the family drama that went on between these two guys, and I'm very, very curious to see how this relationship sort of plays out. I was watching Kicking It.
You really think we'll see that?
I want to see how it kind of affects just like the vibes in general. I know, like on Kicking It, you guys had asked Matt Turner about if
did it affect the dressing room?
Did that affect the dressing room? And Matt said no. And I liked that you pushed back, Kate, because I was like, no,
come on, man.
Come on. Like, of course it did. Like, that, it was
didn't
wild.
affect the dressing room?
It was wild. What happened?
It definitely affected the dressing room, but
it had to have.
To move it enough to say, oh, guys, we don't know what to do. The coach is at it
well,
with
it's not
Gio
an
Reyna.
episode of Scooby-Doo.
No.
But, I mean, yeah. But it's going to be something that's going to be talked about, or one of those quiet things you don't say.
It is, and
but it
it's
didn't
kind of the
deter
elephant
them on
in
the
the
pitch
room.
is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You're not thinking about it on the pitch.
Definitely not against England, am I right?
It's the elephant in the room right now at camp. And we've talked so much about how important Gio Reyna is to this U.S. men's national team, and how we think that he is probably their most important player, their best player, a position that they sorely need him in. And so this needs to function. Like this, they need to put this aside. And apparently, I'm believing that if he is in camp and Gregg Berhalter, they finally had that conversation, that things are cool, that olive branches have been extended, but the U.S. needs Gio, and they need him to be playing well. I'm glad he got some minutes over the weekend, finally, with Borussia Dortmund. But I'm just curious to see how he kind of fits in with this team, and if it can be sort of just a seamless transition for them.
Aaron Balogun agrees with you. You need a Gio Reyna to unlock him. Yeah.
100%.
And my question is simply, can they continue to improve? Because we've seen in the World Cup in the group stages, the whole story was this is a young group. They've never done it before. This is their first experience. They had a grind in World Cup qualifying, but they got the job done. And they get out of the group, and they went unbeaten in the group, which is a good thing considering they were the better team against England in a 0-0 draw. But then they were outcoached and outperformed against the Netherlands in the 3-1 loss. So then you regroup, a lot of uncertainty, Nations League comes, and they absolutely balled. That was the best I've seen this group play. Both the 3-0 match against Mexico and the 2-0 against Canada, they wiped the floor with Canada. And so now they play Uzbekistan and Oman. Both opponents were underwhelming for me. Uzbekistan was better than advertised, I think, coming into that, because then they ended up tying Mexico 3-3. But now you're playing quality. Now it's Germany, and a hungry Germany on top of that, because they have to rediscover who they are and get back to competing for trophies. And so now that you have a German side that has Nagelsmann as a new manager who's trying to prove himself as well, Musiala, a young player like him, Roy Zane, who's playing extremely well. Now I want to see how this U.S. men's national team deals with top-level attackers in world football. And so, you have Balogun who's playing. He's now found. I think he's found his feet well at Monaco. Pulisic is balling at AC Milan. But Timothy Weah, who started off well at Juve, who's now on the bench, who hasn't been playing that much, and Weston McKennie now is playing in front of him at wing back, is going to be brought back into the midfield. And McKennie and Musa partnered very well as two defensive eights in this system, and it worked really well, and you had Gio Reyna in front of them. Does Gio Reyna now start? Is he fit enough to start, or do you run with Tillman there, because Tillman has been playing really well at PSV? So just seeing how Gregg continues to evolve this team, because you can't be aggressive all the time and dominate play, especially when you're playing against Germany. So how does he change the tactics to get the most out of this side?
I agree. For me, my big question is, what do you do in defensive midfield? Tyler Adams is one of those players that's so essential to the way Gregg Berhalter wants to play. We've seen this team shine without him. Unfortunately, it looks like he's going to have to go back in for surgery. We're going to have an elongated period without him. What exactly do you do? Do you bring in someone who is maybe a bit more of a less roaming forward defensive midfielder, someone who sits back and just protects the back line? Are you able to send your fullbacks forward if you don't have that in that position? Do you try a Weston McKennie in there, maybe take away the weapon that we've seen him, sort of be in front of goal and roaming forward? Does that, maybe expose your backline? There's so many questions as to what exactly do you do in that position, and it's something that's so essential. And what I don't want to see is take a player like a Yunus Musa or a Weston McKennie and inhibit their ability to go forward by making them sit back and camp out in front of that backline. It's a difficult question. It's luckily not one that I have to solve, but I'm interested to see what happens.
Well, I mean, I think it's already shown itself with Musa and McKennie partnering each other well, being in that role. Because I think what I love about that is it's interchangeable. It's not one player's tasked with protecting the back line. Both, or one ventures forward and then one covers. But I love the fact that you have that interchangeable midfield, because the more fluidity and unpredictability you have from this U.S. side, which is young and they cover a lot of ground, I think the better it is for the U.S. in the attack, especially in transition. I
would have loved if they brought someone in like an Amir Richardson who plays for Rennes. I would have loved if they would have given him a chance. He plays a little bit more on the wing, tall. He could play for Morocco. It looks like he's most likely going to play for Morocco or France if he wanted to. But to get the chance to see him, he's a little bit of a ball stealer. He's in the top 10% recoveries in Liga. To see someone like him get in that position.
Excuse me?
Liga.
Excusez-moi.
You don't pronounce the H's. I don't know if you know that. To see him get a chance would have been great.
Okay.